Welcome into Valley News Now. I'm Devin Fry. We're joining you this afternoon just to kind of keep you updated on everything that we're working on in the Valley News Live newsroom. Obviously, another busy day here, and it comes off of a busy night weather-wise. We're going to talk a little bit about what the weather team's tracking, but as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our sky cam and how things are looking right now. Of course, a windy day. This is the Dakota Magic Casino cam there. It's gotten a lot nicer than it was this morning, I can tell you that much. It is hot out there though, so if you're not a big fan of the heat, say you're me for example, not a big fan of how hot it gets outside, may not be the best day for you, but it's better than what we were experiencing last night with those heavy rains. More on that in a minute. We have some crazy video to spotlight here. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and take a look at what the weather team has for us here on our Valley News Live website. We're going to go to the weather tab now. First alert weather days, Thursday night through Friday. So just something to be aware of there. We're going to go into a little bit more detail about what those entail. But according to Summer, posted 11 minutes ago, heavy rainfall in some parts of the valley Tuesday night. Today, it's a dry break with sunshine. Slight chance for some folks up near the Lake of the Woods to see another storm this evening. Temperatures overnight staying mild into the 60s. So today's kind of the break before things get crazy through the weekend. Let's pull up the first alert weather day. And again, our weather team has done an incredible job of keeping everybody up to date about what the possibilities are for this storm. Friday is looking like the biggest day, the nighttime risk, or PM risk, I should say, for strong to severe storms on both of those days. Watching for all modes of severe weather. Forecasts, there's some uncertainty for timing and location, but like I said, our weather team is staying on top of it. Be sure to download the Valley News Live weather app, and we're going to keep you as up to date as we can. So that's what our weather team is up to. As far as the newsroom today, the big thing is yet another press conference today for the Fargo Police Department, and yet another incident. Oh no, wait, I almost forgot. How could I forget this? The weather that we saw last night, the flooding in some areas of town. Of course, obviously a lot of you know about it, and these are just some of the videos that got sent to us. Look at this guy kayaking in a flooded area. That's near the Sonic on 45th, I believe. Kayaking in a flooded road there. Of course, a lot of roads in our area have been are no longer flooded, but there are some areas, especially out when you go west on the interstate, I believe, towards Valley City, still some flooding impacts there. Our Valley News Live team has some more reports on some of the weather impacts tonight, and especially I know a lot of you people are going to be looking at what the weather's going to be look like around WeFest, and I've heard it gets muddy there when it starts to rain, so something to keep an eye on. Now, with the flooding out of the way, as far as the news goes, we had another press conference today from Fargo Police about another incident on that Sunday morning here in Fargo. This was something new today, though. We had heard about the two shootings that happened around the same time in the early morning hours on Sunday, but this was an assault that happened a little bit further down Broadway from where the fatal shooting took place. This was an assault. They told us that the victim suffered life-threatening injuries. Chief Dave Zabolski called it a clear gash to the head that he suffered. Now, Cass County Sheriffs responded to that incident because FPD was dealing with the shooting investigation, but the agency says they had no formal filing of that incident. As a matter of fact, we heard from Sergeant Tim Brigham, who told us that the agency didn't even know about it until yesterday.
At face value, our deputies were sent to assist fire and EMS what was identified as an uncooperative patient. Like I had mentioned, it took 3 minutes for them to get there. I don't know any of the whys as to what they knew as far as on their MDT and what they reviewed. I don't know any of the whys outside of they were told initially of the assault, but I don't know the whys as to why they didn't ask further questions. I don't know any of the whys as to why they haven't conducted any further follow-up prior to getting it to the Fargo Police Department. But we do have an internal review process that will take place. As I mentioned, this is Sheriff Johner's agency. These are Sheriff Johner's decisions, and we have to wait for his return back to Fargo before we get some of that stuff in place.
Important to note there that Sheriff Johner was out of town on vacation. They told us that he did cut those vacation plans short and is on his way back. We actually have an availability set up with him tonight, so we're going to get some answers there. We also heard from Fargo Police Chief Dave Zabolski on what led to this perceived miscommunication between the two agencies as far as this assault incident goes.
I think as Captain Brigham mentioned, that they'll have to look into it on their side in terms of why reports and notifications weren't done, so we don't really have the answer for that. We could say that in that situation, we would expect any of our personnel to perform an investigation. They were told by the ambulance staff that the man had been assaulted. It was an evident gash to his head, and there was, in essence, a crime scene there and other things that should have been done. We don't know why they weren't done, or if there's other information that wasn't known, I guess, but that's going to fall to the sheriff's side to determine that. Our role over at Fargo PD is to take this now and move the investigation forward, identify and arrest these folks.
Fargo police will be investigating this now. They sent this out during those press conferences today. These are the two suspects in this assault. Now, these are still images obtained from the video evidence of the scene. If you have any information on this, you are urged to contact the Fargo police as they continue to investigate this serious assault charge. Now, we also got some more details on one of the suspects involved in one of the fatal weekend shootings. This is the one in South Fargo. Andre Douglas, who was arrested in connection to the fatal shooting of Elijah Hughes in South Fargo, reportedly opened fire at another group of people just 12 days prior to this incident. Now, he was in court earlier today, and court documents of this incident shine some more light on what happened on July 22nd. We knew that police were looking for him already after he allegedly fired at a group of people in a drive-by shooting. They say he leaned out of a vehicle that he was riding in and opened fire on this group of people near an apartment building. A person who wasn't involved, wasn't a part of the group, he was just simply walking across the street reportedly. He was shot in the leg. Officers recovered 13 cartridges from the street and noted that there were 8 bullet impact strikes to the apartment building itself. Now, Douglas was arrested in Jamestown on charges related to this incident. We're still awaiting formal charges on that fatal August 3rd shooting. Some more updates on an incident that we've been tracking here at Valley News Live. The City of Moorhead Police Department said today that they're going to be conducting targeted traffic enforcement in response to community concerns. Now, this is in relation to the tragic crash that killed a 9-year-old boy last week after he was hit by a city public works vehicle in the crosswalk on 40th Avenue while riding his bicycle. Today, the police department said that they're going to increase traffic enforcement in that area and other key locations throughout the city, and those enforcement efforts will be ongoing leading up to the start of the school year. The Moorhead Police Department encourages the public to report any traffic or driving-related concerns to the Red River Regional Dispatch Center. These complaints are assigned to officers from further investigation from there. We had an interesting story come through the newsroom today. A Montana woman was arrested in Stutzman County after a high-speed chase on I-94. I have her mugshot here. I'm going to go ahead and work on getting that pulled up. She was identified to be driving recklessly in Barnes County as they traveled west on I-94. She got into Stutzman County from there. Highway Patrol tried to attempt a traffic stop, but they say that she refused to stop. Patrol would continue to pursue her for about 20 miles. They say she maintained speeds of around 125 miles an hour. Here is the mugshot from our story on valleynewslive.com, if I can get that pulled up here. Her name is, let me pull that up. Sorry, I thought I had this prepared, but I guess I didn't. 30-year-old Tessa Schmidt. She was the one who was arrested in regards to this pursuit. Here she is now. You can see her kind of at the top of your screen. We'll get her more towards the middle. Authorities would arrest Schmidt for fleeing, reckless endangerment, driving under the influence, and driving with a suspended license. She was treated for minor injuries at the Jamestown Regional Medical Center. Schmidt would take a breathalyzer test 3 hours after the crash that registered at a .141, nearly twice the legal limit there. Schmidt's driving status at the time was suspended. Again, she was out of Montana at the time of this incident there. Now, it's the first Wednesday of every month, which, as we know, means that they're testing the tornado sirens. But last month, at the end of last month, things got a little bit interesting. The sirens just went off. Now, the city did say that this was going to be part of a test, especially with the new water towers going up. But now they're saying that because of public outcry, they're going to provide a heads up before some of these monthly tests. They're also implementing a notification process for any situation that requires sirens to be activated due to repairs, maintenance, or troubleshooting. The changes stem from community concern and confusion after the sirens went off on July 22nd. Again, that was a Tuesday. If the sirens had gone off on the first Wednesday of the month, then we wouldn't have had any questions. That siren test had to do with the demolition of a water tower. Siren communications equipment had to be removed from that water tower temporarily. The sirens were tested after the move to ensure they were working. So again, now going forward, they're going to go ahead and give a little bit more of a heads up before any of these tests. Big news for our Fargo Little League team as the Little League World Series is starting to gear up here. They are just one win away from advancing to the Little League World Series proper. In their semifinal game today against South Dakota, Fargo won that matchup 5-4, representing the whole state there. That means they're going to play the winner of the semifinal in the losers bracket between South Dakota and Nebraska. If the Little League team wins the tournament, they'll be the second team ever to represent North Dakota in the Little League World Series. First time it happened was in 2023. I remember that fondly when Fargo won the tournament. So good luck, guys. We're all pulling for you here. Represent the home state well. That's all we have right now for our Valley News Now digital update. Again, we're going to try to do this on a more regular basis. Just keep everybody abreast on what's going on in the newsroom, what we're tracking throughout the day. We have a full staff here now. We're going to make sure that we can keep everybody as updated as possible and get more content out there. But for now, for Valley News Now, I'm Devin Fry.